Good morning. I came out to the garden this morning to do a quick harvest, and I thought while I'm out here, I already have ideas going for things that I want to do better next year. So I thought I would talk about those a little bit. I was able to use more space in the garden. I was actually able to use the ground. It wasn't just grass last year. We just left it as it was, and I just used the potato tank that I had and the raised bed. So this year I was able to kind of expand everything, and I tried a lot of things. I started seeds indoors, and I still did buy some things from nurseries and greenhouses and whatnot that I didn't start myself, or seed packets from the hardware store of things that I still wanted to try. So overall, that was a win, being able to try a bunch of things. With the seed starting, I know I started my seeds too early. I was just too antsy and too excited to get the garden season going, and it didn't help me, it didn't hurt me, but next year that's something I want to be better about, is starting seeds on time, so I don't need to try and take care of things inside longer than I have to. I would like to try more flowers next year. These sunflowers have been absolutely amazing. Those are actually mammoth sunflowers. They are not nearly as big as I thought they were gonna get, but I am still loving the color and everything that they're adding to the garden, along with the hollyhock that I had. It's kind of wilted and withered for the season. I don't think it's really gonna be as pretty as it was at the beginning of, say, June. But that was a lot of fun to have out here, and I have some other like marigold and daisy type things. So there was a lot of yellows and then a little bit of pink, which is fine. But next year I would love to do way more and expand the color and expand the garden. Another thing that I want to do better for next year is the organization of everything. I still drew out on paper a plan of where I wanted, a general idea of where I wanted things to go, and for the most part I followed that, but it wasn't really the most practical layout for everything. Some of my like vining squash and pumpkins and things, I've never grown them before, so I didn't realize how long they could get and how wide they could spread. So the places where I planted some of them, it has like completely covered the ground, and I'm walking in between the vines, and I don't want to harm the plant. I don't know if I would, just like a quick step on it, but that's something I want to do better for next year, is like the reorganization of everything to make it a lot more functional. On the same tangent of organization for next year, I also want to try laying down like landscape fabric or tarp and just kind of burning holes through it and planting in those holes to try and keep the weeds at bay. This year, really before the garden season got going, I was able to get out here and work up a lot of the ground, and I think I did a pretty good job weeding, but then kind of once summer got into full swing, all the weeds came back. And I ended up laying a bunch of mulch down, and that helped for a little while. Now I still come out here and I'll weed every so often, but that's another thing that I want to try differently next year to see if that helps at all. And I think it'll help with the organization of things too. Like I can have one row of peppers, one row of whatever, and it'll be all kind of in the same spot, and I can have my labels. My labeling this year was terrible, but yes, that is another thing that I want to improve upon for next year. One of the things that I was really concerned about this year is the broccoli and beans that I had planted.
She's, looking around. She's like, oh, what happened to all my beans? I had all these. These were all nice and tall. They were looking really good. She goes, oh, my broccoli. Well, all the deer came up and ate her broccoli. Ate it all. Ate it all gone. Wow.
That's so sad. I came out one evening after I got home from work, checked everything, walked through the garden, and I realized all of my bean plants and all of my broccoli plants were basically gnawed down to nothing, which I assume was the deer We saw some deer out here last summer, but I really didn't have much going on. I didn't see any bug damage, deer damage, pest damage, and I was a little disappointed because I thought I'm gonna have no beans. I planted all my bean seeds, I put everything out there, and I thought I was gonna get nothing. Well, the plants have completely bounced back. I think this is the last head of broccoli that I will actually get this year, but I'll have some tiny little florets that are still kind of sprouting and coming up. The green beans have come back with a vengeance. They are in abundance. It is so much fun to come out here almost daily and pick a handful of green beans. That has been an absolute win. Also this year I planted a lot of cucumbers, way more than I would need. I'm definitely gonna need to gift some family members and things cucumbers because I have more than I know what to do with. But with the varieties that I planted this year, I'd have to go check the seed packets inside because I'm not 100% sure what varieties they were. But this one I know is it's from my local farm in Fleet, or Fleet Farm, anybody if they know what that is. So it was just some like bushy cucumber, or it could have been a Dollar General seed as well, like a $1 packet. These ones have been doing really well. This is kind of like the traditional pickling cucumber, I guess, that I've always grown up knowing. But then whatever these guys are, I don't remember what variety this is, but all of them are getting absolutely huge and they're turning like orangish yellow. And I had kind of read online that maybe they were overripe when they turn that color and they might not be the best for fresh eating, but they might still work well for pickles and things like that. So I'm still gonna try and use what I can, but this one's actually normal. I don't know what they're doing, why they're doing this. I have some inside that are as big as a zucchini. Like, they're huge, but they're yellow and they're orange. I don't know. I definitely don't want to plant that variety next year. I'm going to figure out what it is when I get inside and cross that one off my list. Because I would much rather have like fresh eating, really pretty green pickling cucumbers. Not that there's anything wrong with the other ones, it's just not what I would prefer to grow. The tomatoes have also been coming in abundance. I'm finally starting to get some big ones. I have been getting a lot of the smaller, like kind of cherry tomato, Roma tomato type ones. The banana peppers. I've been harvesting banana peppers like crazy. My green peppers are slowly coming in. I've had a few pretty big ones, but those are still chugging right along. So hopefully I have some more that I can harvest by the end of the season, along with the squash and the pumpkins. Super excited about those. For garden season 2024, I plan to start seeds on time, to use more panels and trellising along with the garden tarp or fabric down on the ground to help with weeds, to help vine things and stabilize them properly better than I had done this year. I would like to add in a few more varieties of fruits and vegetables to try growing for the first time. I want to learn how to preserve things, and hopefully next year I can grow more that will allow me to preserve things in a larger amount. And I would like to work on a different layout for the garden that's a bit more practical, and I take into consideration companion planting a bit more, along with spacing of things. That's not to say that this year hasn't been a beautiful one out in the garden, and I have had so many humble little harvests already. It was more than I ever could have expected for this year, and I'm so looking forward to seeing how things change next year and what I can improve upon from here on out. Now that I'm getting some knowledge and experience under my belt, I am loving gardening, this hobby, this passion, and I'm really excited to see what happens next year, if I can produce more and also try and preserve more and learn how to do those things a bit better when I have a lot more. If you want to follow along on my garden journey and learn with me, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to see you back. Thanks for watching.